Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside.
Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and I took off my Rockway Recycling and iScrap hat on. I put on my dad's shirt today, so on vacation, but it was too important not to jump in, so we are live. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, so if you have questions, now's the time to ask us. Oh man, when we start to get into the markets in a few minutes, it's been crazy. So don't forget, if you're not a YouTube member of ours, please become a YouTube member. You get some videos as well, video only members yet. And if you don't subscribe to our channel, please do. This way you can learn more about the scrap metal markets, how you can make more money with it, how you can learn about materials that you don't even know exist. But we are live. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern. So ask any and all questions. I think we already had a couple of questions. So instead of me jumping into what I think, let's just jump into those, Virginia. YouTube user, I have 250 pounds of Bear Bright prepped and over 500 total. Should I take it prepped in today or wait 1 to 2 days? For reference, I go to the scrapyard once every week with 500 to 700 pounds of Bear Bright. Great for you. I'm really happy to hear that. Now, my guess is that you're waiting to see what's going to happen with the market. So we'll put that question on hold for a second, Virginia. Let me jump into the markets. We'll jump back to that user's question. Yesterday, we heard around 2 p.m. Eastern time, President Trump coming out and making an announcement that there was going to be a 50% tariff on all copper imports. Wow, did the market react crazy, right? So what happened? Copper was trading. We're going to go with round numbers today. Makes it easier math. Copper was trading at $5 per pound. Now, let's just talk about something before we get too deep into this. There's two copper markets. There's the U.S. copper market, which is called COMEX. There's the worldwide copper market, which is the LME. Now, you can see on our screen here, copper is at $5.50, up 10% from where the market was yesterday. Now, I'm looking at the LME price for copper. And Virginia, at the top of your screen, if there's somewhere where you can do search, type in the letters MCU, and you'll be able to bring up the LME copper pricing. M as in Mary, C as in copper, U as in, yep, there you go, MCU. Now, if we can pull up the LME copper pricing live, we didn't rehearse this, so sorry, there it is, copper futures. These prices are at $9,635 a metric ton. Now, when you take that and divide the LME world copper trading numbers are trading at $4.40. $4.40 for the world numbers, $5.50 for the domestic numbers. Here you are, 96.35. You take that, divide by 2240. That's how the metric tons. That comes to a total of $4.40. Now, Tom, why is the worldwide number so different than the U.S. number? And how quickly is my scrapyard going to raise their prices when copper goes 50 cents? Excellent questions, because I can tell you my scrapyard is raising 0 cents. We are not changing our price right now. When you have a world event like the announcement of a 50% tariff, I primarily sell to 5 different people. So let's say you sell to 1 or 2 scrapyards, okay? And they got an announcement like this. They would also be trying to sell material they already had on hand, right? They want to make more money too. The people that we sell to stopped buying yesterday. Nope, not taking any new orders. We're good. We have a supply on hand. We're going to be in a wait and see mode, and we're going to readjust our spreads. Remember the last few weeks I've talked about spreads? Scrapyards get spreads from traders or from copper mills when they sell copper. Well, all copper mills said, no. We're not just giving everyone 50 cents more, right? $20,000 every truck extra. No, that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to stop, and now we're going to let things go. So Virginia, let's put that YouTube comment back on there for me. Now we're looking at the margins, right? YouTube user, I have 250 pounds of Parabrite PEPs, 500 total. Should I take it in today or wait 1 to 2 days? This, for reference, I go to the scrapyard once a week with 500 to 700 pounds. YouTube user, please don't stop going to the scrapyard. If you go there today with your 500 pounds and got a nickel a pound extra, that would be awesome. And I'm not saying this to be like slick or funny with my words. I'm not getting any more money for the copper after it went up 50 cents. At one point, just so you know, it went up to $5.75, and the other markets were still at $4.40. So we're just use a 5.5 number. You can take that comment out, V. I wouldn't look for any extra copper, and everyone's going to be, I wouldn't hold any extra copper. I'd continue to sell as I go. John Wolf, should I hold on to any of my number 2 insulated copper wire? John, only if you're not in the mood to make money. Only if you don't need the money. I don't see a huge upside. In fact, here's what I see happening right now. I see this as another bargaining chip in the president's, table of tariff cards. Because if you look at major copper importers to the United States who have not signed a trade deal, Chinese, India, we still haven't had a deal with them. Okay? So the people that are bringing all of this material into the country, they want to import it. They're not going to import it at 50% margins, and that's or 50% tariffs, and that's at, without the trade deal. I fully predict that this tariff will stay in on the 50% margin, but now you're going to start to see trade deals happening with these major, countries, because you're not going to be able to afford to import things to the United States. And where are you going to do it? See you scrapping. It's bad when Kitco isn't showing the buy ask pricing. The live chart is crazy. Just for reference, I'm on vacation. I was spending time with my kids yesterday. I left my phone at the house for 4 hours. I came back, and this is what I came back to. Right? It was like the craziest thing. It was almost like back in April when the tariff talk went and the market just dropped. This is the same feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, do I change my price? And anytime any of these things happen, everyone, I don't jump to anything. Oh my God, copper's up 50 cents. I need to be a competitor with my guy. I got to add 50 cents. Nope. I take a pause because everyone that I sell to, I know them at this point. As you should know your scrapyards if you've gone there for months or years. They're just going to have their average kind of flow, and they're not going to overreact to this. So, keep the questions coming, but I'm going to touch base on a few other things that are going on with the markets right now. We see steel pricing continuing its flat line to downtrend. I just can't get over this. Steel prices are so low. I know scrap yards that are like, do we stay in business primarily for steel? I know a few guys at about 80-90% of their business is steel, and there's no margins. And you see it with the prices. Light iron, $1.20, $1.10. I think we're at 100 a ton. I mean, some of the customers are so confused on how low the prices are for steel and so high for copper, and it's really hard for us to explain. Because of this supply and demand curve that's out there, it's really hard to figure out this domestic route for steel. I know steel-wise, some people talked about the U.S. Nippon Steel deal that just was approved and is going to go through with Japan buying, one of the largest steel mills in the country. But I don't know what's going to be happening here. LV Mols Plains. Tom, is it possible that companies like CME and Southwire are going to be sourcing lots of copper before the president signs the tariff? It's too late. It's too late. It needs to be here by August 1st. So you're looking today, what is the July 9th? On average, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for material to come into the country. So if it's not on a ship already, it's not going to be on a ship that's going to be here before August 1st. What do I do think is going to happen? A couple background things that I've learned. In Nevada, there's one of the largest copper mines in the world. It hasn't been tapped into because of regulatory constraints that were just lifted by the Trump administration. I believe Freeport owns this mine out in Nevada. I heard a statistic earlier. I've not fact checked this. That there was 40 billion pounds. It was like 22,000 metric tons or 22 million metric tons. Well, 22 million metric tons of copper in this mine in Nevada that just was essentially approved to be mined for the first time ever. And that's probably part of the president's plan, mine more material in the country. If he knew that this was going to be approved, that there was this much of a deposit of copper in the country that could help supply us for 30 years, this is probably one of the reasons that he did this copper tariff, knowing that there was enough supply in the country for a couple of years, knowing that there's going to be a new supply coming on, knowing the tax bill was just passed last week, the big, beautiful bill. So you see things that kind of align and then they make more sense. And that's why people that lead, they know more than we do. And when things, release, unfortunately, the dominoes are falling and we have to piece those, the puzzle pieces together. The Copper Buck Recycling says, I believe as of now, the U.S. has a free trade deal with Chile, which is the biggest importer of copper to the U.S. Correct. I don't think that they've signed a trade deal, Copper Buck Recycling. I don't think that that's been signed. The ones that I know of are only 3 or 4 right now between Britain has a preliminary deal. They announced one with Vietnam and I believe South Korea, which are 2, not Britain, but the other 2 do import copper. But I don't think that Chile has. And Chile has a major issue because a lot of the Chilean mines and ports are owned by the Chinese. So Chile is going to have an issue getting copper out directly to the United States because what Trump is doing is trying to see those loops. We have a trade deal. Oh, a Chinese company up to America. We have a trade. No, now they're going to throw tariffs in there. So this is going to be a little dicey, Copper Buck. Good looks on that. Keep the questions coming. Let's look at this that I read over in oilprice.net. This is a really cool article talking about Chinese mining companies. Just coincidentally, we were talking about them just now in Chile. Chinese mining investments surged to $21 billion in 2024, focusing on copper, cobalt, and rare earths. Over half of this money targets copper, driven by its essential role in construction and EV manufacturing. Here's something crazy, scrappers, talking about EVs. I was just mentioning this and it kind of rolled into the next point. We'll talk about catalytic converters. Big, beautiful bill. By the end of September, they are eliminating the tax credit for EV purchases for both new and used EV purchases. So those of you that want EVs, $7,500 for new ones and $4,500 buying used ones will be gone by the end of September. What have we been talking about for the last 4 years on catalytic converters? We need the EV mandates to be removed for there to be able to have higher catalytic converter prices. Now, do I think that happening is the reason that platinum and palladium are up? No. I think that platinum and palladium are up because of the over investment in gold and people wanted to put their money in other areas, and that's why they did it, because there was no increased demand. But now that we see that we're going to have EV tax credits removed, electrification is still happening on the solar side of things. Wind looks to be getting largely axed on most, if all, federal subsidies. But now the EVs, now you're going to have a market which over, let's say, a 10-year period has had 8% adoption of electric vehicles, okay? 8%. That means 92% of the market is still using combustible engines, whether they're diesel or gas. And you saw that, with all these credits the last 4 years, that 8% definitely ticked up. But now you're going to see people that are going to have a couple of different things coming. There's going to be interesting on the metal side. I promise. I'm weaving my way there. You're going to see EVs disappear. you're going to see the tax credit disappear, which means that $50,000 EV is going to go to $57,000, right? Now you could still get a $50,000 American-made car, and now you can deduct your interest payments from your taxes with this new big beautiful bill, as long as you buy a car made in America. Now we know that Tesla is made in America. We know that Ford makes electric vehicles in America. But there's going to be interesting things to see, because now you're getting rid of rebates. And now that you're getting rid of rebates, how are these cars going to be perceived opposed to combustible engines? We don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I do see combustible engines and hybrids now becoming a little more popular, increasing the amount of catalytic converter material, platinum, palladium, and rhodium, going into these catalytic converters in the coming years. Now, that won't help the immediate price short term, but within 1 to 2 years, I do see prices increasing for catalytic converters with firm not knowledge, with firm conviction that this is actually going to be true after the last 4 years. So now we're going to see the pricing on catalytic converters happens, how this interest things hit, how different laws going to affect the next couple of years, but we might start to finally see those prices, as the president has a USA first mentality, keep the here, don't import all these things. So you might see a more emphasis of keeping metals in this country, and that's going to be something that could be positive for the catalytic converter industry. But over RR Cats, we've been seeing all types of strong pricing. So if you haven't checked us out, check out some of the prices over at rrcats.com. The 88 BMEG. I know the main topic is copper, but how are markets for aluminum, pop, beer cans? Should I sell my cans or hold on to them? Great question. I'm not sure. I'll go with the BMAG, the 88 BMAG. I don't know if that's right. I'd sell them. Aluminum prices are freaking awesome. I mean, I'm not holding my aluminum. We fill up a dumpster or a box of aluminum right out the door. Super high prices. I'd shop them if we could pull up some of the prices. Oh, that's a bad price. 10 cents on pop or beer cans. You might want to save those and take a trip down the border and see if you can sell them in the United States. I wish I was buying cans through the mail. I'd send you a box for those. We do buy cats through the mail though. So check that out. 10 cents is not a very good price. Aluminum cans nationally, here we go. 56 cents a pound on average. 40 cents, 72, 72, 63, 56, 50. Mixed pricing over the last weeks and months, over the 45 days. Indianapolis, Storm's Adventure, thank you, quoting 70 cents a pound for cans at his yard. Don't forget, report that on the iScrap app. Helps everyone just know what the markets are doing. Helps you know where you got at your scrapyard too. So if you look at the last 7 days of cans, we saw 60s and 70s. So that's a great number. I'd unload them. I'd absolutely unload them. Keep those questions coming. LV Malls Plains, why have gold silver prices retreated somewhat while platinum keeps climbing? Will copper's price increase also increase silver like it did around 2011? Let's keep the first half of the question. We'll answer that first. Gold and silver were overinvested in. There were too many orders and not enough physical supply. So people said, "Ooh, we got a little too aggressive there." That's why you saw a pullback on gold. I still think gold's going to hit 4,000 an ounce this year, but you saw a pullback. Silver is a secondary material. They say silver and gold. Well, they really do marry up well, where a lot of people invest heavily in them. Then once they were heavily invested upon, and I don't think we're going to hit those 2011 levels, we saw, platinum starting to get invested in, and that's really more of a long pull as a short pull may be. So hopefully that helps you. Will copper's price increase also increase silver like it did? I don't know. Copper's price increase is fake right now. It's there, you can see it, but you're supposed to have like a 20-cent difference between the LME and the COMEX, not $1.25. So we need the worldwide markets to work themselves out. I fully expect by the end of the third quarter, which we're just beginning, to see what the real price of copper is. I can't imagine by the end of September. By the end of September, we don't see solid trade deals, tariff lowerings, or new rates that are moving forward on another really, we're only waiting on 15 to 20 countries. We're not waiting on like 100 of them. 15 to 20, it's that 80-20 rule. 80% of your business, 20% of your customers, right? The US buys or only it does 80% of its business with only 20% of the countries. And my numbers are not exact, but the concept's there. So hopefully that'll help you. Any other questions? We just talked about so many things today. We have a report that's out. Gary, appreciate that, Gary. My pleasure. It's always nice helping you out, learn about the markets. Quick plug, rrcarbide.com. We've seen record high pricing for carbide. Some of our ever paid out. So if you have access to any type of tungsten-based alloys, carbide, we pay for shipping. We give you shipping labels. We give you bins. So if you have machine shop friends, people that you buy know where carbide is, please, RR Carbide. I think we're quoting into the $11 or $12 range. Super high right now. So scrappers, appreciate you tuning in. Ask any questions. If we didn't get to them live today, we'll get to them in the next few days. We'll get you those answers. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. We appreciate you tuning in. My name is Tom Bushell from Rockway Recycling and the iScrap app. And until next week, I'll scrap you later.